Legend has it that many years ago, a certain traveler once passed through several villages. The traveler was rumored to only spend a night in these villages, as no one ever got to see the traveler after sunrise. Whenever the traveler stopped by a village, the villagers either became richer or poorer, as the traveler was rumored to be the carrier of good and bad luck. Over the years, many have prayed for the traveler to pass through their village. They wanted their village to prosper, but no one knew what the traveler looked like or when the traveler would pass through their village. Many have come and gone, pretending to be the traveler, swindling villages of their valuables and treasures. This has happened in so many villages, and the rulers of some of these villages have decreed to kill anyone who pretends or portrays himself as the traveler. In the great kingdom of Odu, this was few years ago, a certain man who called himself the traveler came into the village. The people showered him with gifts as they wanted their village to prosper. Even their king hosted the man in his palace, not knowing that he was only a thief and a swindler. The man carted away with several valuable treasures of the king at nightfall, and this enraged the king, who decreed that anyone who portrayed himself to be the traveler would be executed, as the king then believed that the tale of the traveler was only a fallacy coined to rid villages of their valuables. In the same village lived a girl named Ihuoma. Ihuoma lived with her father, who was a member of the king's council of chiefs. Her best friend, Ola, lived a short distance from Ihuoma's hut, and they've been friends for so many years. One day, Ihuoma and Ola were heading to the village stream when they saw a very old woman struggling to lift a heavy wooden crate on her head. Ola stopped to assist the old woman, but Ihuoma discouraged her, saying that she should not help the woman because the woman was a stranger. The old woman pleaded with them to help her, but Ihuoma and Ola ignored the woman and continued to the stream. On their way back from the stream, they met the old woman at the same spot, struggling to carry the heavy wooden crate. Ola could not ignore the woman a second time, so she dropped her bucket of water and rushed to help the old woman carry the wooden crate on her head. Her friend Ihuoma was not pleased at all, but Ola paid no mind to her as she assisted the old woman. They walked for some minutes, and Ola asked the old woman if she was from their village. The old woman laughed, saying that she was only traveling past the village. Ola then jokingly asked the woman if she was the famous traveler, and the old woman looked at her and told her that indeed she was the legendary traveler that everyone has been talking about. When Ola heard this, she became afraid as she remembered the king's decree. She kept calm and continued to walk with the old woman for a few minutes till they arrived at an abandoned hut close to the forest. "Is this where you'll be staying?" Ola asked the old woman, who nodded and replied that she would only be here for a short while. Ola bid the old woman farewell as she rushed back to pick her bucket of water. She rushed home to drop the water and quickly set out to Ihuoma's hut to tell her about the old woman. "Ihuoma, Ihuoma, where are you?" screamed Ola when she arrived at Ihuoma's house. Ihuoma rushed out and asked Ola why she was panicking. Ola then dragged Ihuoma aside and began to whisper, "The old woman is the traveler." Ihuoma looked at her and began to laugh. She asked Ola how she knew this, and Ola replied that the old woman told her that she was the traveler that they had been talking about. Ola danced in excitement, saying that riches would finally come their way for helping the old woman. Ihuoma then continued to laugh at Ola, saying that she should not be too excited as there are a lot of fake people parading themselves as the traveler. Ihuoma then asked Ola where the old woman was staying, that she would love to go apologize to her for not helping her earlier, and Ola told Ihuoma that the old woman was staying at the abandoned hut by the forest. When Ola left Ihuoma's house, Ihuoma rushed to her father to tell him that she saw an old woman parading herself as the traveler, trying to swindle people of their money in the village. Her father, being a member of the Council of Chiefs, rushed to inform the king of the old woman pretending to be the traveler. The king, on hearing this, sent his guards to bring the old woman to his palace. They rushed to the abandoned hut by the forest and saw the old woman. The guards then dragged her to the king's palace to face the king, who was filled with rage at this point. The old woman was confused and asked the king's guards why she was summoned by the king. It was then that she was told that there was a standing decree of the king to kill anyone who paraded themselves as the traveler. When the old woman came into the presence of the king asked her why she was parading herself as the traveler. The old woman replied that she was not parading herself as the traveler because she was the real traveler indeed. "How can a woman be the traveler?" said the king as he laughed and accused the old woman of being a swindler and a fake. The king then ordered his guards to beat the old woman up and lock her in the palace dungeon till morning, when she would finally be executed and used as an example for other fake people parading as the traveler. The guards did as the king instructed and beat up the old woman. She pleaded for leniency, but no one paid mind to her. After hours of beating, the guards locked the old woman up in the palace dungeon, not minding the fact that she was old and badly bruised. The next morning, the king ordered his guards to bring the old woman from the dungeon, as time had come to execute her for trying to deceive the villagers and the king. On getting there, the guards realized that the old woman was nowhere to be found. "But we locked the dungeon gates. How did the old woman escape?" one of the guards said in confusion. The guards rushed to inform the king, who came to the dungeon gate to see for himself. It was then that the king remembered that the traveler never stayed in a village till sunrise. It was past sunrise already, and the king then realized that he had made the greatest mistake of his life. He tortured the real traveler, and what this meant was that his village will now face the tremendous bad luck of the traveler. Everyone was now in fear, including the king. News of this spread around the village, and when Ola heard that it was Ihuoma who told her father about the traveler, she felt betrayed and responsible for all that had happened to the traveler. Ola then went to confront Ihuoma for what she did. Ihuoma was filled with regret at what her jealousy led her to do. If only I kept my big mouth shut, all this would not have happened, she said to herself as she began to cry. Immediately, the bright skies turned dark. The rivers also began to dry out. All the animals and livestock began to die mysteriously, and the people began to panic as they knew that their village was now under the traveler's curse. All efforts to appease the traveler were futile, and the king was clueless on what to do. The king then sent out some guards to go from village to village in search of the old woman, but the guards died mysteriously as they tried to leave the village. It was then that the people realized that they were trapped in their village with the curse and could not leave. All they had now was hope that one day the traveler would give them a second chance to do the right thing and reverse the curse glooming over their village. They waited for years, but the traveler never passed through their village again. The lesson to be learned from this story is that jealousy is destructive, and a little lie can attach to it great consequences. Always be mindful of what you say to people in the spur of jealousy to avoid endangering lives in the process. I hope you enjoyed the story.
Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps us grow our channel. I'll see you in our next story. Bye.